Well, we were wondering who else was going to be added to the cast of Superman Legacy, and now we are getting reports about screen tests for Supergirl. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about where these reports are coming from. It is a trade, what actresses are up for the role, and what it tells us about Superman Legacy. Now, before we dive in, though, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. We do daily Marvel and DC videos, and we want to be your place for all the superhero news, but we're going to bring it to you truthfully and transparently so you are in the know. Well, recently, James Gunn made it pretty clear they were almost completely done casting for Superman Legacy. But one character we keep hearing persistent rumors could show up would be Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl. Now, Supergirl's set to get her own film, Woman of Tomorrow, and we know that's part of the Chapter 1 slate and will be based on Tom King's book from 2022. But it's been pretty far up in the air whether Sasha Calle would return to play Supergirl or if James Gunn was going to recast, and now we have a pretty interesting update from Deadline. And it does appear they will indeed be recasting the character. What the team is reporting over at Deadline is that DC Studios is setting up a series of screen tests to pick out actors who will be the new Supergirl. And on that list of actresses is Millie Alok, Emily Jones, and Meg Donnelly. Now, there is a chance the studio could make straight offers to an established star, but at this point, all things are pointing towards screen tests for each of these actresses, which should happen next month. Deadline is reporting that James Gunn is definitely part of the process and that this character could indeed make a cameo appearance in a DC project that isn't Supergirl, leading many people, myself included, thinking she will very well appear in Superman Legacy. Now, Alok is best known for her role in Game of Thrones playing Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen, and I could totally see her as a fan pick. Now, Amelia Jones also has some pretty big credits under her belt, including Youth, and was part of Apple's Oscar Best Picture, Coda, as well as the Netflix series Lock and Key. Now, Meg Donnelly is also a fairly interesting choice. Now, not only has she been part of the Disney Channel Zombies franchise, but she's actually already played Supergirl. She actually voices a character in Legion of Superheroes and in Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. Now, I found this casting curious because we know Gunn wants to keep the voices in the animated projects the same as the live-action actors, and that would be a pretty big piece of irony if this actress should be picked. Now, like we said, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is a big part of the Chapter 1 slate, and that book itself is going to take the character on a pretty unique adventure. But it's pretty clear to me, if they're doing this casting now, well, Gunn has said in the past, no castings will happen until a script is done. So what that means is if they are casting a Supergirl, whatever project she will be part of has already been written. That's a pretty short list. So unless Supergirl is showing up in Creature Commandos or Waller, well, the only other project she could be part of would be Superman Legacy, and we know that is about to kick off production. Now, all these reports come from Deadline, but they're not officially from DC. When Superman was cast, this is exactly how it went down before. Deadline reported on a list of potential people to pick up the roles. They told us there were screen tests, and then shortly after, we found out who ultimately picked it up, which, as you know, was David Cornsweet. Now, funny enough, one of the other people in the role for Superman was Nicholas Hoult, who ended up being picked as Lex Luthor. So just because one of these actresses does not snag the Supergirl role, doesn't mean she won't show up elsewhere in the DCU. Obviously, this is bad news for Sasha Calle, who won't continue to play the character. I thought her take on Kara Zor-El in The Flash was pretty good, although the movie had a ton of problems, and I'm not really surprised given how many DCEU characters didn't move forward that she isn't continuing the role. Obviously, we're going to follow this one pretty closely. Supergirl showing up in Legacy would make a ton of sense, and I'm really curious on which one of these actresses ultimately secures the part. We'll have to wait and see.